please welcome the class of 2023. Good evening. Before we start this ceremony to celebrate the success of these students that are sitting with us, as many of you know, our community suffered a tragedy over the past evening. And I ask that out of respect for the family, you keep them in your thoughts, prayers, and wishes as they go through this difficult time, that you join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Would you all please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Welcome to the annual Whitman-Hanson Regional High School and Dollars for Scholars 61st Annual Awards Ceremony. My name is Dr. Jones, and I'm the proud principal of Whitman-Hanson Regional High School. Tonight is a special night. It is the night where hard-working, deserving students who have put forth determined effort and made sacrifices are recognized. Whether the awards highlight academic achievement, athletic ability, or a student's skill at giving their story of why they are deserving, we must remember one thing. Each of these recipients has a story that is greater than any reward bestowed upon them tonight. These students are future leaders. They have been purposeful, acted with integrity, and built their character into a strong foundation that I am sure will lead them to a bright and successful future. One last thing I ask. Please honor these students' achievement by taking a moment right now to silence all of your electronic devices until the end of the ceremony. Leading us off tonight is Mr. Michael Gangsher, President of Dollars for Scholars. He leads an organization that has been instrumental in assisting students in the funding of their next educational journey. This year, Dollars for Scholars will be awarding $169,246. So without further delay, I'll now turn this program over to Mr. Michael Gangsher from Dollars for Scholars.
Good evening, and welcome to the 61st Annual Dollars for Scholars Awards Night. We would like to express thanks to the businesses and organizations, the DFS alumni, and the townspeople of Whitman and Hanson, whose overwhelming generosity and support of Dollars for Scholars allows us the ability to award $169,246 to the class of 2023. We are extremely grateful once again for the steadfast support from our community and from our DFS, adult, and student volunteers. Scholarships received from Dollars for Scholars may be a DFS award or a named scholarship. Attached to each award certificate handed out this evening is an instruction sheet listing the information the students will need in order to accept their scholarship in the next 2 weeks and claim their scholarship money in the fall. When you hear your name, please use whichever set of stairs are closest to you to come up and accept your scholarship from the presenter. Please feel free to applaud after the student's name is read, but hold your applause while the student is returning to the seat so that he may read the next student award. Each year, we award a scholarship to a student who has volunteered the most time for our fundraisers and helped other organizations in Whitman and Nancy. This year, we had one student who met that distinction. The hours that she contributed were above and beyond the norm. The Nancy McLaughlin Volunteer Award, in the amount of $1,000, presented by Jim Armstrong, goes to Sarah Thompson, attending Emmanuel College. The Duncan Kitchen and Bath Scholarship in the amount of $100. The Whitman-Hanson Regional High School Class of 1965 Scholarship in the amount of $250. The Reverend Larry G. Maynard Memorial in the amount of $500. And the Whitman High School Class of 47 Scholarship in the amount of $1,750, presented by Tina Willett, goes to Erica Ingram, attending UMass Amherst. The Chief John R. Travis Memorial in the amount of $500, and a DFS award in the amount of $1,000, presented by State Police Trooper Kelly Travers, goes to Alexander Nunes, attending UMass Lowell. The James R. Haggerty Jr. Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Jean Dean, to Audrey Miller, attending Bridgewater State University. The Joanne M. O'Connell Memorial in the amount of $100, and a DFS award in the amount of $650, presented by Stephanie Emporia, to Brooklyn Lopes, attending Salem State University. The Nancy McLaughlin Memorial in the amount of $300, presented by Roberta Spencer, and a DFS award in the amount of $650, presented by Michelle Lamatina, to Aiden Spadorcia, attending Bryant University. The Anderson Surveys in memory of Ann Hayes Class of 1972 Scholarship in the amount of $250. The John J. Ferry Senior Memorial in the amount of $500. And a DFS award in the amount of $950. Presented by Leslie Sullivan to Sydney Tyers, attending UMass Amherst. The Whitman-Hanson Regional High School Class of 1990 in memory of Major Michael J. Donahue, Scholarship in the amount of $200. The O'Brien Family Scholarship in the amount of $250. The Laurie Sawtelle Memorial in the amount of $350. And the John J. Ferry Senior Memorial in the amount of $500. Presented by Scott Sawtelle to Nathan Skasha, attending Worcester Polytechnic. The Fred J. Carey Memorial in the amount of $200, and the Christopher J. Cronin Memorial in the amount of $700, presented by Kathleen Woodward to Nicholas Manganello, attending Coastal Carolina University. The Curry Family Enhancing Scholarship in the amount of $250, and the DFS Award in the amount of $600, presented by Alicia Dernier to Stephanie Braga, attending University of New Hampshire. The Women's Garden Club of Whitman Scholarship in the amount of $200, and a DFS Award in the amount of $900, presented by Linda Cole to Paige Regan, attending Framingham State University. The John J. Ferry Senior Memorial in the amount of $500, a DFS Award in the amount of $500, and the Pamela J. Costantino Memorial in the amount of $1,000, presented by Tracy Dandini to Ava Bickford, attending Joplin. The Cacciatore Family Scholarship in the amount of $100, Whitman High School Class of 47 Scholarship in the amount of $700, the Buckley Associates Inc. Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, and the T. Francis and Avery Lynch Memorial in the amount of $1,200, presented by Michelle Mattina to Zachary Lindsay, attending UMass. The CLC Tucker Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Roberta Spencer. The Austin Insurance Agency Inc. Scholarship in the amount of $100, presented by Tracy Dandini. And the Baker DeLandis Family Scholarship in the amount of $2,350, also presented by Tracy Dandini to Noah Roberts, attending UMass. McHugh Electrical Scholarship in the amount of $100, James M. Ferry Memorial in the amount of $500, and a DFS Award in the amount of $1,600, presented by Jean Dean to Matthew Bergen, attending Boston University. The Gilmet Family Scholarship in the amount of $100, Eastern Machine and Design Corporation Scholarship in the amount of $100, Whitman High School Class of 47 Scholarship in the amount of $250, DFS Award in the amount of $700, and the DFS Alumni Award in the amount of $1,160, presented by Jean Dean to Ann Tilley, attending University of St. Louis. Conley Elementary School PAC Scholarship in the amount of $500, and a DFS Award in the amount of $1,100, presented by Cheryl Hackney to Hannah Young, attending Westfield State University. Whitman DFW Auxiliary 697 Scholarship in the amount of $100, a DFS Award in the amount of $150, and Conley Elementary School PAC Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Stephanie Poria to Cole Champini, attending Bridgewater State University. The CSF Founders Club Scholarship in the amount of $250, a DFS award in the amount of $350, and the Gantrick Family Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by myself to Eva Hutchko, attending Curry College. Sorry, I wasn't ready. The Hatherley Realty Scholarship in the amount of $300, and a DFS award in the amount of $700, presented by Leslie Sullivan to Priscilla Laguerre, attending Howard University. A DFS award in the amount of $500, presented by Kathleen Woodward to William Gillette, attending Eastern Nazarene College. The Brian Bay Memorial in the amount of $100, the Whitman High School Class of 47 Scholarship in the amount of $700, the Marshall Family Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, and the Dr. Donald F. McEnroe Memorial in the amount of $1,500, presented by Michelle Matina to Helen Lira, attending Worcester Polytechnic. The Whitman High School Class of 1951 Scholarship in the amount of $2,500, presented by Alicia Durnia to Olivia Tarosi, attending UMass Boston. The Conway Insurance Agency Scholarship in the amount of $500, and a DFS award in the amount of $600, presented by Linda Cole to James Goyette, attending College of the Holy Cross. A DFS award in the amount of $100, the Colin Young Memorial in the amount of $500, the Lawrence Coombs Memorial in the amount of $600, presented by Chris Coombs to Lauren Keddy, attending University of Rhode Island. The Andy Patarelli Memorial in the amount of $100, the Lenny Baker Memorial Scholarship for Music in the amount of $500, the Ernest A. Moore Scholarship in the amount of $1,200, and the Whitman High School Class of 47 Scholarship in the amount of $1,900, presented by Marsha Baker to Sarah Thompson, attending Emmanuel College. The Blanchard Funeral Chapel Inc. Scholarship in the amount of $500, and a DFS award in the amount of $700, presented by Tracy Danidini to Francesca Banfield, attending Bridgewater State University. The Arthur and Helen McHugh Memorial in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $700, presented by Jean Dean to Ava Harris attending Endicott College. A DFS award in the amount of $900, and in memory of Margaret Joyce Chase Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Michelle LaMattina to William Frazier, attending Salve, Virginia. Representative Josh Cutler Scholarship in the amount of $250, and a DFS award in the amount of $600, presented by Cheryl Hackney to Benjamin Hurley, attending Stonehill College. The Tracy E. Lodging Scholarship in the amount of $200, and a DFS award in the amount of $450, presented by Michelle LaMattina to Brody McDonald, attending Endicott College. The Virginia A. Billings Art and Memorial in the amount of $400, and a DFS award in the amount of $800, presented by Michelle LaMattina to Madeline Allen, attending UMass Dartmouth. A DFS award in the amount of $150, and the Laurie Sawtelle Memorial in the amount of $350, both presented by Scott Sawtelle. The Tracy O'Neill Scholarship in the amount of $500, and the William R. and H. Virginia Jennings Memorial in the amount of $1,000, both presented by Kim Moore and Anna O'Neill to Lauren Mead, attending Westfield State University. The Phelps Family Scholarship in the amount of $100, a DFS award in the amount of $100, and the Kevin Gosnell Memorial in the amount of $2,000, presented by Stephanie Poria to Matthew Ward, attending Bentley University. The John J. Ferry Senior Memorial in the amount of $550, and a DFS award in the amount of $950, presented by Leslie Sullivan to Jackson Preskins, attending Union College. A DFS award in the amount of $700, and the Whitman Kiwanis Memorial in the amount of $1,000, presented by Kathleen Woodward to Trey Lapandula, attending College of Florida. DFS award in the amount of $400, in memory of John J. Catanay III, scholarship in the amount of $1,500, presented by Alicia Dernier to Logan Thomas, attending UMass. The Learning Well Early Education Center of Hanson Scholarship in the amount of $350, and a DFS award in the amount of $650, presented by Linda Cole to Gracie Gorman, attending University of Duke. The Patrick Lawrence Flanagan Memorial in the amount of $1,000, presented by Stephanie Poria to Michael DiCarlo, attending Johnson & Wales. The Whitman-Hanson Regional High School class of 1990 in memory of Major Michael J. Donahue, scholarship in the amount of $200, and a DFS award in the amount of $550, presented by Tracy Dandini to Meredith McPherson, attending Salve Virginia University. The Whitman-Hanson Regional High School class of 1962 scholarship in the amount of $475, and a DFS award in the amount of $625, presented by Jean Dean to Kayla Cassidy, attending University of St. Louis. The Armin and Rose Strangers Memorial in the amount of $250, DFS award in the amount of $450, and the Dymark Artistic Scholarship in the amount of $600, presented by Cheryl Happany to Grace Morgan, attending Mount Holyoke College. The Forrest W. Nutter Jr. Memorial in the amount of $200, and a DFS award in the amount of $550, presented by Stephanie Poria to Abigail O'Neill, attending Coastal Carolina University. DFS award in the amount of $500, and the Lucille and Donald Vose Memorial in the amount of $1,000, presented by Leslie Sullivan to Nicolette Keith, attending Boston University. A DFS award in the amount of $1,000, and the Hawley Family Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Kathleen Woodward to Emily Johnson, attending Denison University. Coletti Kitchens and Baths Scholarship in the amount of $200, and a DFS award in the amount of $550, presented by Alicia Dernier to Gianna Barbosa, attending Southern New Hampshire University. Sullivan Funeral Home Scholarship in the amount of $200, and a DFS award in the amount of $450, presented by Linda Cole to Colin O'Sullivan, attending Massasoit Community College. The Club X Fitness Committed to Excellence Award in the amount of $200, the DFS award in the amount of $800, and the Hawley Family Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Tracy Dandini to Anthony Pires, attending UMass Amherst. The Refined Real Estate and Stonegate Mortgage Scholarship in the amount of $500, and a DFS award in the amount of $600, presented by Michelle Matina to State Sam Spadorcia, attending Bryant University. Virginia A. Billings R.P. Memorial in the amount of $400, and a DFS award in the amount of $900, presented by Jean Dean to Sophia Kearns, attending UMass. The E. Sheehan Corporation Scholarship in the amount of $150, The Whitman DAV Chapter 119, First Lieutenant John R. Fox Memorial in the amount of $100. The Whitman-Hanson Regional Class of 1990 in memory of Major Michael J. Donahue Scholarship in the amount of $200. And a DFS award in the amount of $450, presented by Gene Dean to Kyle Donnelly, attending Massachusetts Maritime. The Gabriel Family Scholarship in the amount of $100, McDevitt Family Scholarship in the amount of $150, the Whitman-Hanson Regional High School Class of 1971 Scholarship in the amount of $400, the Whitman High School Class of 47 Scholarship in the amount of $1,850, presented by Cheryl Hackney to Riley Getchell, attending Yale University. The Harding Print and Digital Copy Center Scholarship in the amount of $100, the Whitman Amateur Radio Club Inc. Scholarship in the amount of $200, the Carlton P. and Lillian F. Burrell Trust Fund Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, and the Kiwanis Club of Hanson in memory of George and Nancy McLaughlin Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Jim Armstrong to Ryan Labonte, attending Boston College. The Joseph M. Quirk Memorial in the amount of $150, and a DFS award in the amount of $350, presented by Kim Moore to Samuel Pace, attending Western Kentucky. The Alfred J. Gillette Memorial in the amount of $250, and a DFS award in the amount of $700, presented by Leslie Sullivan to Jack Navicki, attending the University of Detroit. The DFS award in the amount of $700, and the Amy J. Windsor Memorial in the amount of $1,000, presented by Kathleen Woodward to Anthony Cornetta, attending the University of Rhode Island. The Chief John R. Travis Memorial in the amount of $500, and a DFS award in the amount of $1,000, presented by State Police Trooper Kelly Travers to Mia Gokul, attending the University of New Hampshire. The Whitman-Hanson Express Scholarship in the amount of $200, DFS award in the amount of $800, and the Hawley Family Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Stephanie Poria to Anthony Labonte, attending Ithaca College. The Hal LeClaire Memorial in the amount of $100, the DFS award in the amount of $550, presented by Chris Coombs to Alexandra Roy, attending Framingham State University. The Earl and Barbara Richards Memorial in the amount of $150, and a DFS award in the amount of $450, presented by Michelle Matina to Christopher Correa, attending Bryant University. The Grouch That Saved Christmas Scholarship in the amount of $300, and a DFS award in the amount of $650, presented by Cheryl Hackney to Devin Walsh, attending the University of Rhode Island. The American Eagle Employees in Memory of Randy Betts Scholarship in the amount of $250, and the DFS Award in the amount of $650, presented by Michael Gancher to Charles Che Guevara, attending UMass. The Paul E. Jewett Construction Company Scholarship in the amount of $200, and the DFS Award in the amount of $550, presented by Stephanie Coria to Ryan Walsh, attending Bridgewater State University. A DFS Award in the amount of $200, and the Robert S. T. Memorial in the amount of $750, presented by Linda Cole to Maddox Coflaw, attending Western University. In memory of Cameron and Malachi Brazier Scholarship in the amount of $200, and a DFS Award in the amount of $550, presented by Leslie Sullivan to Hudson Gillis, attending Stoneville College.
A DFS Award in the amount of $600, and the Robert Hayden Kennedy Class of '87 Memorial in the amount of $1,000, presented by Kathleen Woodward to Brady Easter, attending Pittsburgh State. The Arthur S. Cabral Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $250, and a DFS Award in the amount of $650, presented by Michelle Lamartina to Harrison Carew, attending Coastal Carolina University. The Ewell Construction Scholarship in the amount of $100, the Paul McVeigh Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $150, presented by Glenn Ward, the Stephen E. Wurzberger Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, and the Whitman High School Class of '47 Scholarship in the amount of $1,850, both presented by Declan Wurzberger to James Melito, attending Boston University. The JSM Custom Engineered Products Inc. Scholarship in the amount of $100, the Tracy O'Neill Scholarship in the amount of $500, a DFS Award in the amount of $600, and the DFS Alumni Scholarship in the amount of $1,100, presented by Kim Moore and Anna O'Neill to Cameron Golden, attending UMass. The Lynton Lynch Scholarship in the amount of $100, a DFS Award in the amount of $600, the Dymark Academic Scholarship in the amount of $600, and a Holly Family Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Alicia Dernier to Brian Buffard, attending New York University Tisch School of the Arts. A Holly Family Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 and a DFS award in the amount of $1,000 presented by Linda Cole to Rachel Conca attending Worcester Polytechnic. A Berkeley Family Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $600 presented by Tracy Dane Deeney to Brandon Krupp attending Bridgewater State University. The Donald L. Ford Insurance Agency in loving memory of Donald and Margaret Ford Scholarship in the amount of $300 and a DFS award in the amount of $650 presented by Michelle Lamontina to Malia Avery attending University of New Hampshire. The Erin Krogan Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $800 presented by Michelle Lamontina to Sam Dodwell attending University of Rhode Island. The Paul E. Jewett Construction Company Scholarship in the amount of $200 and a DFS award in the amount of $600 presented by Michael Gansher to Jessica Steele attending Massasoit University. Women Firefighters Local 1769 Scholarship in the amount of $300 and a DFS award in the amount of $550 presented by Cheryl Hackney to Drew Daly attending Keene State College. J. Ciccone and Sons Scholarship in the amount of $250 and a DFS award in the amount of $600 presented by Stephanie Poirier to Emma Bartolomea attending Massasoit University. A DFS award in the amount of $100 and the Franciscan Sister of the Atonement Mary Helena Sproul Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 presented by Leslie Sullivan to Olivia Griner attending Bridgewater State University. The A.L. Prime Energy Scholarship in the amount of $100 and a DFS award in the amount of $400 presented by Kathleen Woodward to Brandon Schufa attending Cape Cod Community College. The Kumar Family Scholarship in the amount of $501 and a DFS award in the amount of $800 presented by Alicia Dernier goes to Jacob Teague attending Bryant University. The Susan D. Plant Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200 and a DFS award in the amount of $450 presented by Linda Cole to Peyton McGrath attending Fitchburg State University. A Hanson Athletic Association Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $700, presented by Tracy Dane Deeney to Drew Fountain, attending Stonehill College. The East Sheehan Corporation Scholarship in the amount of $150, Colby Family Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $150, and the Donna M. Wells Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $2,500, presented by myself to Isabel Miller, attending Roger Williams University. Paul's Appliance Scholarship in the amount of $100, the Sylvia F. Bergeron Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $300, and a DFS award in the amount of $1,800, presented by Michael Gancher to Reagan Heath, attending UMass Amherst. The Hanson Republican Town Committee Scholarship in the amount of $230 and a DFS award in the amount of $550, presented by Cheryl Happy to Samuel Scott, attending New York University. Bill and Loretta Sacco Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $600, presented by Stephanie Poirier to Natalie McManus, attending. A DFS award in the amount of $100, McDonald's Hanson Scholarship in the amount of $100, and the Kevin Gosnell Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $2,000, presented by Michael Gancher to Brendan White, attending UMass Amherst. The Stephen F. Cronin Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $700 and a DFS award in the amount of $500, presented by Leslie Sullivan to Victoria Ennis, attending Endicott College. The Colby McCarthy Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, the Robert A. Cole Scholarship in the amount of $250, and a DFS award in the amount of $250, presented by Deborah McCarthy to Emily McCooch, attending Stonehill College. Dymark Athletic Scholarship in the amount of $600 and a DFS award in the amount of $500, presented by Alicia Dernier to Evan Casey, attending Ithaca College. The Joseph and Francis Sansoni Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $400 and a DFS award in the amount of $600, presented by Linda Cole to Abigail Walsh, attending University of Tampa. The Stephanie Jessica Way Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $600, presented by Kathleen Woodward to Ryan Carroll, attending Endicott College. The William R. Duhamel Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $600, presented by Tracy Dane Deany to Camden Burrows, attending Bryant University. In memory of Matthew Westfield Scholarship in the amount of $300 and a DFS award in the amount of $650, presented by Michael Gancher, goes to Stephen Fostello, attending Endicott College. Pat Snow's Dance Academy Scholarship in the amount of $200, a DFS award in the amount of $500, and the Whitman Kiwanis Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Cheryl Hackney to Ryan Brown, attending Stonehill College. The Charles Mullen Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $150 and a DFS award in the amount of $650, presented by Stephanie Poirier to Devin Verdor, attending University of The Lynch Fontaine Scholarship in the amount of $400 and a DFS award in the amount of $800, presented by Leslie Sullivan to Peyton Ledbetter, attending UMass A DFS award in the amount of $400, presented by Kim Moore to Benjamin Pace, attending Mississippi State. The Regal Marketplace Scholarship in the amount of $100, John J. Ferry Senior Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, and a DFS award in the amount of $1,300, presented by Kathleen Woodward to Ron Isidore, attending Worcester College. VFW Post 697 Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $600, presented by Alicia Dernier to Cassidy McKay, attending Pace University. The Erin Krogan Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 and the John Jr. and Francis L. Costantino Memorial in the amount of $1,000, presented by Michelle Lamatina to Lila Meinhold, attending Curry College. The Senator Ned Kirby Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $300 and a DFS award in the amount of $650, presented by Linda Cole to Ellen Nagel, attending Muhlenberg College. The John Jack Brown Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $250 and a DFS award in the amount of $600 presented by Tracy Dane Deeney to Elijah George attending Bryant University. The Town of Dojo's Character Through Martial Arts Scholarship in the amount of $200, Hanson PTO Scholarship in the amount of $250, and a DFS award in the amount of $400, presented by Cheryl Hackney to Aiden Keene attending Bridgewater State University. Carousel Family Fun Center Scholarship in the amount of $100, Whitman High School Class of 47 Scholarship in the amount of $200, T. Francis and E. Marie Lynch Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,200, and the Dr. Donald F. McEnroe Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,500, presented by Michael Gancher to Sarah Regan attending Northeastern University. Peter and Sandra Palazzo Scholarship in the amount of $100 and a DFS award in the amount of $800 presented by Michelle Lamartina to Braden Kane attending Providence College. Elsie Ferrari Studley, Class of 1938 Scholarship in the amount of $200 and a DFS award in the amount of $550, presented by Stephanie Poirier to Julia Foley attending Massasoit Community College. Conley Elementary School CAP Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $1,100, presented by Linda Cole to Daniel Butler attending Grant S. University. The McLaughlin Chevrolet Amy Scholarship in the amount of $200 and a DFS award in the amount of $500, presented by Kathleen Woodward to Michaela Ciernano attending Brockton Hospital School of Nursing. The Duval Family Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $405 and a DFS award in the amount of $600, presented by Alicia Dernier, goes to Jordan Strangers attending University of The Riley Laurie Taylor Scholarship in the amount of $150 and a DFS award in the amount of $700, presented by Leslie Sullivan to Allison Foley, attending Plymouth State University. The Dean Family Scholarship in the amount of $200 in memory of Mary Gret Lozo Scholarship in the amount of $200 and a DFS award in the amount of $700, presented by myself to Cadence Bowman attending UMass Lowell. Pounds Scholarship in the amount of $200 and a DFS award in the amount of $500, presented by Tracy Dandini to Samuel Balcom, attending Massachusetts Maritime Academy. Conley Elementary School PAC Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $500, presented by Michael Ganchert to Haley Weaver, attending Franklin Pierce University. Kelly and Beard Family Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $450, presented by Lauren Kelly to John Goudreau, attending Massasoit Community College. And Paul E. Jewett Construction Company Scholarship in the amount of $200 and a DFS award in the amount of $550, presented by Cheryl Hackney to Allison Cray, attending St. Anselm College. The Hayes O'Brien Family Scholarship in the amount of $150 and a DFS award in the amount of $350, presented by Stephanie Poirier to Rachel Maniscalco, attending Framingham State University. The Tina DiCarlo Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200 and a DFS award in the amount of $1,000, presented by Michael DiCarlo to Maya Newcomb, attending Hessian College. The Whitman High School Class of 1951 Scholarship in the amount of $2,500, presented by Leslie Sullivan to Leah Giannotti, attending Endicott College. The Carol P. Gagnon Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $800, presented by Susan Gagnon and Jane Kent to Devin Travers, attending Berkeley College of Music. The Atchison Wade Family Scholarship in the amount of $150 and a DFS award in the amount of $450, presented by Kathleen Woodward to Kareem Gulick, attending UMass Dartmouth. American Eagle Employee Scholarship in memory of Katie Braz in the amount of $250 and a DFS award in the amount of $650, presented by Michael Ganchert to Caitlin Leahy, attending Bridgewater State. The Robert E. Brooks Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200 and a DFS award in the amount of $450, presented by Alicia Dernier, goes to Matthew Phelps, attending Coastal Carolina University. Ruth Betty Archer and Dick Archer Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200 and a DFS award in the amount of $450 presented by Linda Cole to Tyler Almeida attending Bridgewater State University. Peter Randall Graphic Arts Award in the amount of $100 and a DFS award in the amount of $800 presented by Tracy Dane Deany to Ian Ashley attending Massasoit College. Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $100 presented by Chris Coombs and a DFS award in the amount of $1,200 presented by Michelle Lamontina to Caitlin Marino attending Sacred Heart University. A DFS award in the amount of $400 presented by Michael Gancher goes to Mark Lee attending UMass Boston. The Elizabeth Camden Van Scott Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $300 and a DFS award in the amount of $700 presented by Cheryl Hackney to Mila Henderson attending University of Connecticut. The DSAC Disposal Scholarship in the amount of $500 and a DFS award in the amount of $700 presented by Stephanie Fourier to Adam Walton attending Merrimack College.
Congratulations, and now the Whitman Hanson and Community Scholarship will be awarded. Thank you.
We're going to give you about a 3-minute stretch break before we go into the Whitman Hanson. So take the 3, stretch it out so we can get comfortable again with the next round. Thank you very much. We appreciate your attendance. And to help us through this portion, I'd like to introduce Mr. David Fleck, our assistant principal.
Good evening. To start off, we have the Kevin Joyce Class of 1986 Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 presented by Kathleen Joyce. The Hanson Police Relief Association Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Derek Harrington. And the Field Hockey Captain Scholarship in the amount of $750 presented by Superintendent Simonak to Abigail O'Neill, Coastal Carolina. The Whitman Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $650 presented by Nancy Payton, and the Narissa L. Cross Cup Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200, also presented by Nancy Payton, to Adam Walton, Merrimack College. The Duval PTO Dolphin Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Diane Schwade, and the Whitman Hanson Hoops Sportsmanship Award in the amount of $500, presented by Superintendent Simonak, to Aiden Spadosha, Brian Anderson. The Narissa L. Cross Cup Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200, presented by Nancy Payton, and the Bluestone Bank Scholarship in the amount of $1,500, presented by Superintendent Simonak, to Alexander Nunes, UMass Lowell. The Mary A. Fasano Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Marta Guggens, to Trevor Guggens, Massachusetts Maritime Academy. Everybody loves the hug. Alright. The Kristen Finn Memorial Scholarship, given in memory of Kristen Finn, in the amount of $1,000 and presented by Caitlin Finn. The Glenn Ward Whitman Hanson Girls Soccer Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Glenn Ward. And the Hanson Youth Cheerleading Scholarship in the amount of $250, presented by Josh Murphy, to Allison Foley, Plymouth State University. The Hanson Girls Softball Scholarship in the amount of $200, presented by Courtney Sealy, to Allison Larkin, Quinnipiac University. The WHEA Teacher Appreciation Scholarship in the amount of $100, presented by Kevin Kafka. The Class of 1950 English Prize, which goes to the highest ranking English senior, in the amount of $300, presented by Dr. Christopher Jones. The Jason Silva Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Chris Clark and Agnes Stevens. And the Mara Murray Catch Me If You Can Cross Country Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Julie Murray. And the Ellen Conway Spellman First Place Prize in the amount of $1,500, presented by Ruth Kerrigan, to Ann Tilley. The WHEA Teacher Appreciation Scholarship in the amount of $100, presented by Kevin Kafka. And the Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by the McCarthy family, to Anthony Cornetta, University of Rhode Island. the Ted Newcomb Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Larry Newcomb to Anthony Pyers, UMass Amherst. The Whitman Hanson Theater Arts Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Brooke Scriven to Anthony Levante, Ithaca College. The Whitman American Legion Post number 22, the Robert B. Cushman Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $750, presented by Senior Vice Commander Jake Ellis to Benjamin Hurley, Stonehill College. The Sandra E. Kelleher Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Lindsay Wolf to Braden Kane, Providence College. The St. Paul's Church of the Nazarene Award in the amount of $500, presented by Dennis and Alyssa Lewis, is awarded to William Gillette, Easton Nazarene College. The Robert E. Brooks Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200, presented by Josh Murphy to Brady Easter, Fitchburg State University. The James Jimmy Castagnozzi Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Josh Murphy to Brandon Chufa, Cape Cod Community College. The South Shore Veterans Assistance Scholarship, given in memory of Ron Stuntz, in the amount of $1,000, presented by Matt Olson to Brandon Berg, the U.S. Marine Corps. The Whitman Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $650, presented by Nancy Payton to Brendan Eddy, Suffolk University. The Type 1 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Tyson Sonnenberg to Brendan White, UMass Amherst. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by the McCarthy family. The Hanson Youth Cheerleading Scholarship in the amount of $250, presented by Ruth Kerrigan. The Walter E. Tobin Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $2,000, presented by the Whitman Hanson Class of 1975 graduate Bob Tobin. And the Old Colony Youth Cheerleading Association Scholarship in the amount of $100, presented by Ruth Kerrigan to Brooke Bell, Mass Maritime. the Thomas and Marjorie Adams Memorial Nursing Scholarship in the amount of $400 presented by Ruth Carrigan to Brooklyn Lopes, Salem State University. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $300 presented by the McCarthy family, and the Narissa L. Crosscup Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200 presented by Nancy Payton to Cadence Bowman, UMass Lowell. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by the McCarthy family. The Hanson Youth Football Scholarship given in memory of John Conroy in the amount of $250 presented by Ruth Kerrigan. The Jason Silva Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Chris Clark and Agnes Stevens. The Hanson Firefighters Local 2713 Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Lieutenant Keith Wilson. The Kevin Joyce Class of 1986 Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 presented by Kathleen Joyce. The Hanson Youth Basketball Scholarship given in memory of Amy Patarelli in the amount of $500 presented by Ruth Kerrigan. The J.J. Fazoli Scholarship in the amount of $4,000 also presented by Ruth Kerrigan, and the Type 1 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 presented by Tyson Sonnenberg to Camden Borough's Ryan.
Take a picture.
I have to give Kim a minute to shake all these hands. The Valerie A. Clapp. All right, go ahead. Give it up now. The Valerie A. Clapp Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $3,000 presented by Courtney Sealy to Cameron Golden, UMass Lowell. The Sandra E. Kelleher Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 presented by Lindsay Wolf to Cassidy McKay, Pace University. The Narissa L. Crosscup Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Bridget Boschino. The Whitman Youth Football and Cheerleading Scholarship in the amount of $300 presented by Joe Burt. And the Plush Hair Design Scholarship in the amount of $300 presented by Josh Murphy to Christopher Currier, Bryant University. The Hanover American Legion Post 149 Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 presented by Dr. Christopher Jones to Raymond Olin, Massasoit Community College. The Whitman Police Association Scholarship in the amount of $250 presented by Josh Murphy, and the Jason Silva Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Chris Clark and Agnes Stevens to Cole Champini, Bridgewater State University. The John J. Farrell Memorial Award in the amount of $100 presented by Dr. Christopher Jones to Colin O'Sullivan, Massasoit Community College. The Narissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200 presented by Nancy Payton, and the William J. Egan Senior Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Ruth Kerrigan to Daniel Butler, Brandeis University. The Whitman Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $650 presented by Nancy Payton, and the Narissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $300 presented by Bridget Oshino to Devin Walsh, University of Rhode Island. The Whitman Hanson Education Association, Association Scholarship offered by the Plymouth County Education Association in the amount of $100 presented by Kevin Kafka to Drew Fountain, Stonehill College. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $300 presented by the McCarthy family. The Jason Silva Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $750 presented by Chris Clark and Agnes Stevens. The Hanson Youth Basketball Scholarship given in memory of Amy Patarelli in the amount of $500 presented by Josh Murphy. The Hanson Police Relief Association Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by School Resource Officer Derek Harrington, and the J.J. Frisoli Scholarship in the amount of $2,000 presented by Josh Murphy to Drew Daly, Keene State College. The Pembroke Youth Hockey Joseph Berolini and William Hickey Scholarship in the amount of $1,750 presented by Courtney Seelig to Elijah George, Bryant University. The Kristen Finn Memorial Scholarship given in memory of Kristen Finn in the amount of $1,000 presented by Caitlin Finn to Erica Ingram, UMass Amherst. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by the McCarthy family to Eva Hutchko, Curry College. Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $300, presented by the McCarthy family. The Hanson Youth Football Scholarship, given in memory of Colby W. McCarthy, in the amount of $250, presented by Josh Murphy. The Hanson Police Student Safety Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by our School Resource Officer Derek Harrington. And Kevin Joyce, Class of 1986 Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Kathleen Joyce. And the J.J. Frizzoli Scholarship, also in the amount of $1,000, presented by Josh Murphy to Evan Casey. The William J. Egan Senior Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Josh Murphy. The Whitman Hanson Theater Arts Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Brooke Scriven. And the Ellen Conway Spellman Second Place Prize in the amount of $800, presented by Ruth Kerrigan to Gracie Morgan, Mount Holyoke College. The First Unitarian Society Scholarship in the amount of $300, presented by Courtney Steelig, Gracie Gorman, University of Tampa. The Whitman Physical Therapy Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Courtney Steelig. The Whitman Knights of Columbus Scholarship, Council 347, in the amount of $650, presented by Michael Lieber. The Hanson Girls Softball Scholarship in the amount of $200, presented by Courtney Seelig. The Jason Silva Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Chris Clark and Agnes Stevens. And the Sons of Whitman American Legion Scholarship, Squadron number 22, in the amount of $500, presented by Senior Vice Commander Jake Ellis to Haley Lieber. The Whitman Knights of Columbus Scholarship, Council 347, in the amount of $350, presented by Larry Roach. The Narissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship, in the amount of $750, presented by Nancy Payton. And the Robert T. Carew Memorial Scholarship, in the amount of $1,000, presented by Matt Carew to Harrison Carew, Coastal Carolina University. The Dr. Henry J. Pallotta Jr. and Angelina E. Pallotta Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $750, presented by Courtney Seelig to Helen Lera, Worcester Polytechnic. The William J. Egan Senior Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Ruth Kerrigan to Ian Ashley, Massasoit Community College. The Whitman Hanson Theater Arts Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Brooke Scriven, and the Green Hanson Scholarship in the amount of $250 presented by Kathy Gernhardt to Isabel Miller, Roger Williams University. The Whitman Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $650 presented by Nancy Payton, and the Narissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $300, also presented by Nancy Payton, to Jack Nowicki, University of Lynchburg. The Whitman Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $650 presented by Nancy Payton, and the Whitman Hanson Youth Soccer Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Christopher Blackman to Jackson Preston's Union College. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $300 presented by the McCarthy family to Jacob T. Bryant University. The Whitman Hanson Education Scholarship offered by the Plymouth County Education Association in the amount of $100 presented by Kevin Kafka. The Whitman Police Association Scholarship in the amount of $250 presented by Ruth Kerrigan. The Whitman Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $650 presented by Nancy Payton. The Whitman Hanson Youth Soccer Scholarship in the amount of $250 presented by Christopher Blackman. The Whitman Democratic Town Committee Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Larry Roach. The Narissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200 presented by Bridget Boschino. And the John and Agnes Pierce Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Ruth Kerrigan to James Molito, Boston University. The Mass Higher Greater Brockton Workforce Scholarship in the amount of $1,023 presented by Megan Rivera to Jessica Seeley, Massasoit Community College. The South Shore Veterans Assistance Scholarship given in memory of Jim Doherty in the amount of $1,000 presented by Mary Doherty to Jonathan Young, United States Navy. The Whitman Hanson Theater Arts Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Brooke Scriven, and the Field Hockey Captain Scholarship in the amount of $750 presented by Superintendent Simonak to Caitlin Marino, Sacred Heart University. The J.J. Frizzoli Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 presented by Josh Murphy to Kayla Cassidy, University of Cincinnati. the South Shore Veterans Assistance Scholarship, given in memory of Ron Stuntz in the amount of $1,000, presented by Patrick McLaughlin to Kayleen Paquette, U.S. Marine Corps. The Hanson Girls Softball Scholarship in the amount of $200, presented by Dr. Christopher Jones to Lauren Mead, Westfield State University. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by the McCarthy family to Lila Meinhold, Curry College. The Dr. Edward T. Walsh Mathematics Scholarship in the amount of $400, presented by Josh Murphy, and the Dennis O'Brien Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, also presented by Mr. Murphy, to Leah Cataldo, UMass Amherst. The Narissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $750, presented by Bridget Boschino to Lily Arsenault, UMass Boston. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $300, presented by the McCarthy family. The Ruth E. Carpenter Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, presented by Pam Carpenter. The Chris MacGyver Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $250, presented by Dr. Christopher Jones. The Narissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $300, presented by Nancy Payton. The Thomas and Marjorie Adams Memorial Scholarship, which is a teacher scholarship, in the amount of $400, presented by Superintendent Simonak. And the Rocket Riley Redemption Project in the amount of $250, presented by Riley and Tom Miller to Logan Thomas, UMass Boston. The Hanson Youth Football Scholarship, given in memory of Colby W. McCarthy in the amount of $250, presented by Josh Murphy, and the J.J. Frisoli Scholarship in the amount of $1,000, also presented by Mr. Murphy, to Maddox Coldcloth, Western Virginia University. The West Side Improvement Scholarship in the amount of $200, presented by Ruth Kerrigan to Madeline Allen, UMass Dartmouth. The Whitman Hanson Youth Soccer Scholarship in the amount of $250, presented by Christopher Blackman. The Ted Newcomb Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Larry Newcomb. The Narissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200, presented by Bridget Boschino. The Whitman Youth Football and Cheerleading Scholarship in the amount of $200, presented by Joe Burke. The William J. Egan Senior Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Courtney Seelig. and the Whitman Hanson Theater Arts Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Brooks Griffin to Maya Newcomb, Western College. The Whitman Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $650, presented by Nancy Payton to Meredith McPherson, Salve Regina, New York. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by the McCarthy family. The Conley Leadership Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Corinne Conley. The Duval PTO Scholarship, given in honor of Elizabeth Crowley in the amount of $500, presented by Diane Schwade and Elizabeth Crowley. And the Jennifer Germaine Goyette Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Courtney Sealy to Miyagoko University of New Hampshire. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by the McCarthy family. The Whitman Knights of Columbus Scholarship, Council number 347, in the amount of $450, presented by Larry Roach. The McGuigan's Pub Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Josh Murphy. And the Courtyard Cafe Culinary Arts Scholarship in the amount of $500, also presented by Mr. Murphy, to Michael DiCarlo, Johnson Wales University. So for those of you out there who are wondering how many more pages is he going to read, I am starting page 8 of 11. I'll keep it rolling. The Rosen Family Scholarship in the amount of $400, presented by Dr. Christopher Jones to Natalie McManus, University of Connecticut. The NROTC Scholarship, presented by Brian May to Nate Skasha, Worcester Polytechnic. The Peter W. Colby Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $200, presented by Josh Murphy. And the Al and Jan Horkey Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Deborah Ryback to Nicholas Ennis, Southeastern Technical Institute. The Whitman Police Association Scholarship in the amount of $250, presented by Ruth Kerrigan. And the William J. Egan Senior Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Courtney Sealy to Nicholas Francanello, Coastal Carolina University. the Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by the McCarthy family. The Rockland Hanson Rotary Club Scholarship given in honor of Carolyn Reddy in the amount of $750 presented by Candace Reich. The William J. and Anna Clifford Howard Scholarship in the amount of $35 presented by Ruth Kerrigan. And the Dennis O'Brien Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 also presented by Ms. Kerrigan to Noah Roberts, Massachusetts. The Judy's Purple Heart Scholarship in the amount of $250 presented by Don Barley to Noah Radford. We're going to ask Don to stay right there for another Judy's Purple Heart Scholarship, also in the amount of $250 to Riley Miller. The Whitman Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $650 presented by Nancy Payton, and the Whitman Hanson Youth Soccer Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Christopher Blackman to Olivia Tarossi, UMass Boston. The Ruth J. Kovas Nursing Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 presented by Ainsley Kovas to Caitlin Ledbetter, UMass Boston. The Ellen Conway Spellman third place prize in the amount of $700 presented by Josh Murphy to Rachel Conca, Worcester Polytech. The Whitman Police Association Scholarship in the amount of $250 presented by Courtney Sealy to Reagan Heath, UMass Amherst. The Whitman Hanson Education Association Scholarship offered by the Plymouth County Education Association in the amount of $100 presented by Kathy Getchell. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $300 presented by the McCarthy family. The Conley Leadership Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Corinne Conley. The Duval PTO Scholarship given in honor of Lauren Kelly in the amount of $500 presented by Diane Schwade and Lauren Kelly. The Whitman Democratic Town Committee Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Larry Roach. The Nerissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $750 presented by Bridget Boschino. The John and Agnes Pierce Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Courtney Seelig. The Whitman Youth Football and Cheerleading Scholarship in the amount of $100 presented by Brian Getchell. The Kevin Joyce Class of 1986 Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $1,000 presented by Kathleen Joyce. The Jean Jocelyn Memorial Scholarship and the amount of $250, presented by Courtney Seeley. The Green Hanson Scholarship, and the amount of $250, presented by Kathy Gernhardt. The Whitman Hanson Regional High School Alumni Scholarship, and the amount of $500, presented by Courtney Seeley. And the Massachusetts Association of Insurance Women's Scholarship, and the amount of $700, presented by Ruth Kerrigan. And you're waiting to see who this is. Riley Getchell. The Ann Gertrude Schultz Scholarship, and the amount of $400, presented by Courtney Seeley to Ron Isidore, Worcester Polytechnic. The Whitman Hanson Theater Arts Scholarship, and the amount of $500, presented by Brooke Scriven to Ruby Scriven. The Whitman Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $650, presented by Nancy Payton, and the Narissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $300, presented by Bridget Broschino to Ryan Walsh, Bridgewater State University. The Whitman Hanson Theater Arts Scholarship in the amount of $500, presented by Brooke Scriven to Ryan Labonte, Boston College. The Whitman Mothers Club Scholarship in the amount of $650, presented by Nancy Payton to Ryan Brown, Stoneville College. The Kristen Finn Memorial Scholarship, given in memory of Kristen Finn, in the amount of $1,000, presented by Caitlin Finn. And the Whitman American Legion Post 22 Scholarship, the Robert B. Cushman Memorial Scholarship, in the amount of $750, presented by Senior Vice Commander Jake Ellis to Sam Dodrill, University of Rhode Island. The Duval PTO Scholarship, known as the Dolphin Scholarship, in the amount of $500, presented by Diane Schwade. And the Whitman Hanson Hoops Sportsmanship Award, in the amount of $500, presented by Superintendent Simonak. And the Northeastern Savings Bank Scholarship, in the amount of $2,500, presented by Dr. Christopher Jones to Sam Spadorski. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by the McCarthy family to Samuel Balcom, Massachusetts Maritime Academy. The Robert Cole History Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Dr. Christopher Jones. The Whitman Democratic Town Committee Scholarship in the amount of $500 presented by Larry Roach. The Jason Silva Memorial Scholarship, also in the amount of $500, presented by Chris Clark and Agnes Stevens. The Rockland Hanson Rotary Club Scholarship, given in honor of Robert Schmidt in the amount of $750, presented by Candace Wright. And the Whitman Republican Town Committee Dorothy Benner Scholarship for Education in the amount of $200, presented by Greg Eaton to Sarah Thompson Emmanuel College. Couple more, we'll be on page 11. The South Shore Veterans Assistance Scholarship, given in memory of Jim Doherty in the amount of $1,000, presented by David Balcom. And the Whitman Youth Football and Cheerleading Scholarship in the amount of $300, presented by Joe Burke to Savannah Lawrence, United States Air Force. The Boss Academy of Performing Arts Scholarship in the amount of $100, presented by Courtney Seeley to Sophia Kearns, University of Massachusetts. The Valerie A. Clapp Memorial Scholarship in the amount of $3,000, presented by Ruth Kerrigan to Stephanie Braga, University of New Hampshire. The Hanson Youth Cheerleading Scholarship in the amount of $250, presented by Courtney Seeley. The Old Colony Youth Cheerleading Association Scholarship in the amount of $100, presented by Superintendent Simonak. And the Northeastern Savings Bank Scholarship in the amount of $2,500, presented by Ruth Kerrigan to Sydney Byers, UMass Lowell. The Barbara Ann Grady Scholarship in the amount of $250, presented by Josh Murphy to Victoria Ennis Endicott College. And at this time, it also gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to page 11. The WHEA Teacher Appreciation Scholarship in the amount of $100, presented by Kevin Kafka. The Colby W. McCarthy Class of 2005 Scholarship in the amount of $300, presented by the McCarthy family. The Hanson Youth Football Scholarship, given in memory of John Conroy, in the amount of $250, presented by Josh Murphy. The Narissa L. Crosscut Memorial Scholarship, in the amount of $300, presented by Bridget Moschino. The Hanson Police Student Safety Scholarship, in the amount of $500, presented by our School Resource Officer, Derek Harrington. The Jennifer Jermaine Goyette Memorial Scholarship, in the amount of $500, presented by Josh Murphy. The Hanson Firefighters Local 2713 Scholarship, in the amount of $500, presented by Lieutenant Keith Wilson. The J.J. Frizzoli Scholarship, in the amount of $3,000, presented by Josh Murphy. And the Whitman High, Whitman-Hanson Regional High School Alumni Scholarship, in the amount of $500, also presented by Mr. Murphy, to William Frazier Salvador Jr. The Hanson PTO Scholarship, in the amount of $300, presented by Courtney Seelig to Zachary Lindsay, UMass Amherst. The Kevin Joyce Class of 1986 Memorial Scholarship, in the amount of $1,000, presented by Kathleen Joyce to Luciano De Gama, Bridgewater State University. We have a couple awards that were going to students that were unable to be with us, so I'll just read them real quickly. The Whitman Knights of Columbus Scholarship, Council 347, was in the amount of $650, and that will be going to Sean Ken, who will be attending the University of Rhode Island. And the Hanson PTO Scholarship, in the amount of $300, will be going to Emily Johnson, who will be attending Denison University. And at this time, it gives me great pleasure to announce and for our principal, Dr. Christopher Jones, to present the class of 2023 salutatorian, Leah Cataldo. And Dr. Jones will also be presenting the valedictorian for the class of 2023 to Noah Roberts. Before I step away from the podium, I do want to send out a great thank you to everyone that has awarded our esteemed graduates here with the financial assistance to go on and start the next phase of their education. And without the work of this individual, tonight would not happen. And this is a tremendous amount of work to put this on and everything together. And I would like to personally thank, on behalf of Dr. Jones, myself, and everybody, Megan Rivera.
Thank you very much for taking the time to spend with us this evening and recognize all these graduates for the amazing accomplishments that they've had. We look forward to seeing you later on this week for a much larger celebration on Friday night. Have a great night.